Hello ladies and gentlemen. The Temple of Hathor at Dendera is one of the most famous tourist attractions in Egypt. It contains unusual imagery, even for Egypt. There is something strange here. Melted stairs leading up to a roof area. Some say they were melted by the sun. A relief inside the temple shows the temple bathed in solar rays. What's going on? Possibility number one, it's done naturally via mechanical forces. People walking down the staircase simply eroded the rock, mangling and giving it this appearance. Why else would the damage be in the middle where people walk? This is one explanation I saw on YouTube given by an Egyptian tour guide. I don't buy into this. This doesn't explain why the steps are thicker towards the bottom from the action of some substance which has become reincorporated into the steps. Therefore, I think this explanation is wrong, really wrong, yet part of the solution somehow. Any tourist, including myself, who has been on thousands of ancient staircases will tell you that you just don't see stairs that look like this. This is not normal. This is not what rock does. I don't even think the steps are that old because they are not eroded enough. I used to run history tours in Melbourne, and I used to point out one of the oldest former pub buildings in the city. There is a bluestone step, much harder than the Dendera steps, which is volcanic rock, and was plentifully used in early Melbourne before we became rich with the gold rush and brick factories opening up. This step is heavily eroded from thousands of people going in and out of the pub in the 19th century. The area used to be a shanty town, a bad part of town. I used to tell people we've only missed having a beer here by 100 years, as it closed in 1908 after 60 years service. But with its closure in 1908, foot traffic significantly decreased, so by my calculation, most of the heavy erosion only occurred in a 60-year period and on a very hard stone. Which tells me the Dendera steps are not nearly eroded enough for their apparent antiquity. Why? There is too much material here which should have been worn away, and these steps are sandstone, not that hard. Therefore I think the tour guide is wrong. But it tells me, well, maybe a bad repair job has been done to it. Maybe its repairs gone wrong. Possibility number two, it's a repair job. So is this a bad repair job gone wrong? Has the primitive concrete simply become like glass? It flows very slowly. Sandstone is non-vitrified silicon grains, unlike glass, merely glued together. But if vitrified, could it flow like this over time? Is it a staircase that naturally flowed like a waterfall in slow motion, or just the possible repair job that flowed out of position, being also mechanically pushed out of position? We don't know. Possibility number three, a clumsy alchemist. Okay, I like this one, but it's not my choice. Egypt is the home of alchemy. To some, it looks like a person was rounding the corner, he tripped and fell. He was carrying something. I've seen this suggested on various forums. It must have been a strong acid. The acid instantly melted the upper steps. You can see it is eroded away at the top. The liquid would have travelled down the steps carrying rock and other rubble with it. Somehow it reconstituted back into stone in a solid state once the liquid or action of the acid had evaporated. Was it a stone softening substance the Egyptians shared with the pre-Incas, who allegedly possessed this substance according to their traditions? Number four, a geological process. Okay, this is what I think happened. Let us remember, these structures have been sitting here for thousands of years, like a cave. On one forum, someone wrote the pattern below on the lower steps is a bit like a stalagmite. I agree. I think if this happened suddenly, in an accident, like someone tripping over and spilling something, it would have been repaired. New steps would be installed, but that never happened. And it was left like this. Why? I think it happened very gradually through the action of dripping water. I think the dripping water dripped through the temple, carrying calcium carbonate with it, dripping from the ceiling. It went down the steps and then it pooled at the lower steps in the indentations made by people walking up and down the staircase, bringing calcium with it and recalcifying the stones, thickening them at the bottom where the water became stagnant away from the heat of the desert. I think this is the explanation, but who knows? I think it happened when no one was looking. It took centuries, and it happened after some abandonment of the temple before modern restoration works took place. I don't think this is the action of nuclear weapons, as some websites suggest. I think that is basically it.